better understand how the new maintenance center works. So if we can go to the next slide, there we go. So we have Frank, the fleet manager, right? So we will be talking about Frank all the time and what he does and what are the tabs that he will be going to. Now we also have Mike, the mechanic, right? That he will be getting these work orders and he will be working on the background. So you understand really how this role and how he applies within the maintenance center. And then we have Francini, the finance boss, right? And it's just the one that's going to be looking at reports, who's going to be looking at costs and all of that, stuff that you probably will be doing that as well. So you might be doing the fleet manager, you'll be doing the mechanic as well as what, Francini would do. So what I want to do now is, now that we know our three main characters, Frank, Mike, and then Francini, I'm going to jump into the database and let's just get hands-on. I'm going to show you exactly what the new maintenance center looks like and what is the flow. So if we go to the new maintenance center, just so you know, I have three different windows here and I have you right here and I'm going to be looking at the database on my left. Over here, we have the new maintenance center, right? The maintenance center, we have the work order management as well as the schedules. Now, before I dive in, before I go into the work order management and start talking about, or even, before I go in and start talking about the schedules, I want to mention something to you, which is the asset inspection. Although the asset inspection is not linked to the maintenance center, that's something that it is on the roadmap, okay? But I want to go here because more towards the end, I will have to go back to this so you will understand how the asset inspection is linked now with the work order management. Now, I know some of you may understand how the asset inspection works, but what we're going to be using today, a part of the asset inspection, is what we call the defect list. Under the defect list, if I go here, I have some that I've created for some demos that I've done across. But also I can add a fresh new one, which I can name this the way I want it, right? Or basically I can go back to the drop-down list here and I can pick one that is there, let's say the default vehicle defect list. And then from here, I can start building in some defect lists. The reason I'm showing this here is that you know that when we get to that part, which I will mention, hey, remember that we talked about the defect list? It's because you would relate it to this, okay? Now, creating a defect list, once again, it's pretty simple. I can just go ahead and rename this the way I want it, right? I always like to share that there is, I was doing a session with a customer and they have, rental cars that all of the rental cars have sunroof on them. And every, I think, 3 to 4 months, they need to do a maintenance, just a checkup on the sunroof because they don't want to have any, water coming in. And of course, we don't have any defect list that would have all the parts and everything that is, in the sunroof. So what they done was they created a brand new sunroof list here, and they went ahead and pretty much they created from scratch, right? They went in over here and they created that, and then they start adding each part to that checklist. Okay. So just so you have that on the top of your head, this is how you create a defect list, because I will go back to that. Now, perfect. Now that we kind of went through how the asset inspections, how you create a defect list, the first thing I wanted to show you here is, before we go to the work order management, is the schedules. Now, it's schedules, and if you were to use already the maintenance center or just the maintenance in general, you're pretty familiar on how this works. It hasn't really changed much, right? So here I can look at specific schedules. If I'm looking for, I can look for specific schedules that are within groups. Also, I can look at frequency if I have based them in distance, a month, weeks, whatever it might be, right? And also I can see if they repeat or not repeat. Meaning that repeat is like, what do you mean not repeat? Well, what if I had something that is manual, like something like a car broke on the side of the road because the tire blew and I need to change that tire, so therefore I need to buy a new one. So that is something that is being entered manually, which we'll talk about that. So that's why we have the repeats over here. Now, when we look at all these schedules over here, if let's say I bought 5 new vehicles and I just need to add them to the schedule or an existing schedule, let's say an oil change, which is very common, we'll be talking a lot about that. The oil change, it is something that I don't want to create another one. I just wanted to add new assets to that one. So In this case, it will be Frank. So Frank is the fleet manager, correct? So Frank will be looking at all the schedules here. He will be looking at all of this and saying, hey, how many vehicles I have? Do I need to add a new, brand new schedule here on the right-hand side? Or I just wanted to add new assets to an existing schedule. And for that reason, we're going to go to that one, which is this oil change. And over here, I have 1, 2, and 3 different tabs that I need to fill, if that's the case. So over here, I have this one. It's the oil change on conditions. I actually set this by time and distance. Whatever comes first, it will show up there, right? I have this repeats every 3 months or repeats every 8,047 kilometers. I have any comments that I may have added there, as well as reminder access. Which groups do I want to actually be able to see this, right? Now, because I'm just adding new assets to this, I don't really need to change any of that. There we go. I have some assets here. I just want to, let's say, well, these are the ones that are already under this schedule. What I want to do is I want to add maybe 4, 5, and 6. And if you notice that now they're sitting over here, right? And then therefore, for me to save these new vehicles into this schedule, I need to go ahead and save them. What I have here is I have the last maintenance date. So let's say for some reason, if I'm adding these new vehicles here, but I know that the last oil change was done maybe 2 months ago, I can go ahead and I can change this date to whatever date this maintenance has been done. So therefore, the clock will reset based on the date that I've entered here, right? And the same applies to odometer or engine hours. Okay, so I can go ahead and say, hey, the maintenance was done and was actually 5,000 kilometers. So then the clock will be set for 5,000 kilometers. And then from that moment, it would go to another 5,000 if that's the case, right? Once again, I need to go ahead and save this. And there we go. And now I have brand new vehicles. You might be asking, well, Diego, what if I have 100 vehicles to save here? Well, at this point, we're going to bring very shortly, we're going to bring a save all button right here. Okay, that you go ahead and add new assets to your list, and it will be a save all button right there. Okay, and there is an update that you can add all of them, and it's coming very shortly as well. Okay, and then we have notifications, and there we go. Well, the notification that I have here, I'm just quickly take a look. Right now, I'm email and user, which is 099 demo user. All right, but let's go ahead and change this. I can email a group or a specific user, if that's to say it's a mechanic or a fleet manager. I can message the driver if they're using the Drive app and other things. Now, the recipient, I have a lot of if let's say I was talking about Mike, right? So if I want to message Mike for this one, I can do that. All right. Now, trigger notification is I can trigger the notification. If I have this set for 5,000 kilometers, right, I want to make sure that I want to get to 5,000 kilometers and then receive the notification. Maybe I want to do this, a few days before or a few kilometers before or even the engine hours as well. Okay, so once you've done that, you go ahead and you can save this. And also I can customize how this message can be delivered. Right now, I have the name of the notification, which is oil change. I have the device due for oil change, right? The remaining days I have, the remaining distance, and so on. If I want to, I can edit it. I can click an edit message. And right here, I can start adding tokens. And what I mean by that is I can click on the body of this message. And I can start going down here and say, hey, I also want maybe the serial number of that device. And now I have the serial number. Maybe I want the remaining, the maintenance type, and I can add that as well. I'm going to click done. And don't forget, whatever changes you make here, you're going to go ahead and you're going to save this. Now, what I basically done was, again, I went to an existing schedule, right? And then I added new assets. Well, if I were to do a brand new one, it's the same process, but it will be just, everything will be blank slate, right? So it's nothing there. So I have my 3 conditions. So conditions, I add my assets, my notifications. So then I can go ahead and say, maybe this is a filter replacement for trucks, right? And then from here, I can, add some categories. How do the categories work? Well, basically, you don't have a list of categories that you will be like in a drop-down menu per se, but you can just go ahead and, write demo here, right, for the purpose of this, and you can add as many categories you want. And the reason for this is that you can filter by category later down the road, and you can run reports as well based on categories. Now, repeats by, we talked about this, by time, by distance, or by engine hours, and then I can go ahead and set, the reminder date, any comments, and any groups. Same thing for my assets. I can go ahead and, select all of them, right? And then don't forget to save. And notifications is the same thing here, okay? Now that we went through on how the schedule works, and this is what Frank's job is. So Frank, the fleet manager, he will go here, he would add all these, schedules here. And then once all that schedule is being done, right, that's a lot of work, right? He might have to spend, if this is a brand new database, he might have to spend some days here just building up all these schedules. Once that is working, that's his job as well, to go on the maintenance center, go under work order management. And then from here, we have 3 different tabs. So it is Frank's job still to be under requests here and look at everything that is about to be due, or is overdue, or is very low, in the sense of like, hey, this is not going to do anytime soon. Now, before I start diving into this, right? So once again, this is Frank's job to come here and really look of, hey, let me look what's critical, what's high, what's low, and so forth. The way I would set this up, high, or I don't think I have any lows here today, probably not, but I will have high, I will have low, I'll have mediums. It is based, the severity is based on whatever parameters you have put in there. So I use always the example of the oil change. And if we're using 5,000 kilometers, so the way is, this is the medium. 5,000 kilometers is like the parameter that I have using now. Now, if it's anything below 5,000, it will be low. And as soon as you start to get closer to the 5,000, we start to get to medium. And as soon as it goes past the 5,000, it becomes high. Okay, and that's how you will know, hey, what do I need to send to Mike, my mechanic, to then start the work order, right? Now, if we look at this, we have high, which is overdue by 10 days. We have another one is overdue by 10 days. And we have something here that's like critical. Well, what's critical? Well, critical, it is based on defect report. Remember the defect report that we looked at the very beginning? This is something that is being done manually, okay? Now, what I want to do here, Frank comes here every day, and then he can, do his search. He can look for specific assets if he wants to. Over here, we have some filters that I can look for specific maintenance types, as well as some sources that we have manual. I have data inside, I have schedule, I have driver that's being reported, I have faults, right? And also I can look by specific severity. So I think I don't have any medium. Let's just take a look. If I apply, let's see, I've got nothing there. So I'm going to clear this. I'm going to go back here again. As me, Frank, the fleet manager, I really want to see what's high, right? So let's just filter it out what's high here. And there we go. So when I get here and look at it like, oh, okay, so this guy here is overdue by 10 days. So what I want to do is, I can, if I want to, I can send the Explorer, I can send vehicle 11 and the vehicle 9, all at the same time. I can select all of them, and I can go ahead and I can create a work order, meaning that I want to send this to Mike the mechanic. He will be taking care of this. But for the simplicity of this, I'm not going to select all of them. I'm just going to go ahead and say, well, the Explorer is one that I really need to take care of. And this is, by the way, my vehicle. Maybe I need to take care of it. So what I want to do is send to Mike, which is me, right? So I wanted to make sure that I've selected my vehicle. And then notice that as soon as I select my vehicle, I have skip, I have snooze, and I have work order. If I want to go ahead and skip this, look, I need to add a note to this. And what I mean by that is, if I skip this, if I have this for 5,000 kilometers oil change, if I skip, it's resetting the clock. It literally goes back 5,000 kilometers. So therefore, I must add a note, okay? Otherwise, I won't be able to. So now, I'm able to skip this, okay? And that's not what I want to do. I can also snooze. Maybe I need to order the oil, or maybe I need to order some parts. So I can go ahead and say just snooze for a day up to 30 days. But for instance, what I really want to do here is I wanted to create a work order. So as soon as I click on the work order, I have this. Again, I'm Frank, the fleet manager. I want to go ahead now and I wanted to send this to Mike, my mechanic. Now, I always like to say that the new maintenance center, it has all the bells and whistles. But if you don't want to use all the bells and whistles, that's okay. You don't need to use all the bells and whistles. And then you've noticed that there's a lot of information. And I receive a lot of feedback and saying, why do we have all this information here? Well, again, if you want to use all the bells and whistles, hey, you're more than welcome. You can go ahead and say, you can assign, you can repair zone, and I will explain all of this. Why do we have this here? But Diego, what if I just want to reset the clock? You can do that, right? What you do is see the status is here. It's open. I can just go ahead and I can say completed. And look what happens here. Right away, my date completed resets there. I'm just resetting the clock and that's it. And I can go ahead and I can save that. But, Francini, the finance boss, said, I need every single detail because when I run a report, I want to know how much money have I spent on each site, like on a workshop, right? The ideal auto tech or the master mechanic market. So she wants to know. So therefore, I need to fill it up all this work here. So I'm going to change this to assign because this is actually pretty high because it's already overdue by 10 days. And hey, Mike is my man. I'm going to send this to Mike. There we go. And then repair site, I will send this. So then Mike will know. I will send this to master mechanic in Marken. All right. I can set up the repair for the reason for repair. And this is, it could be a preventive maintenance. And repair class, this is actually scheduled, right? So we are actually working on a schedule. And it's not an unscheduled or an emergency, which we will talk about this soon. So this is scheduled. Perfect. Now I have some information about my vehicle here. And hey, I have my job right there. Now, and this is the way changes that I need to do. Now look at here. I have something that we call the pending, all pending. And the reason we have this here is basically the system is being proactive, right? And then saying, hey, Frank, are you sending this vehicle to Mike? By the way, I can see here that you have other jobs. Well, you might send this to Mike because you're taking the vehicle to this shop. So why not take care of that? Well, right now, I don't know what that is. So I'm just going to click on all pending and they're going to populate over here. And look at that. Okay. Well, they kind of repeat itself, but just so you understand, like, hey, maybe this is another one. This is all low. I don't really need to take care of this right now. I just want to keep what's high there. So what I do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove them. And by removing them, I'm not deleting them. I'm not saying, well, forget about this. I'm just saying within this work order, I don't need to worry about this right now. They're still going to be on the schedule. They're still going to come up. But right now, I don't need to take care of this. So the last one is this one. I'm going to take out that one out. And there we go. Perfect. So now I'm just going to take care of this one. Now look at this. I have the cost here, which I cannot type in anything. The reason being is because to enter any amount, I need to go to the actual order, to the actual job itself, which is right here. That's not my job right now. Frank just wants to send this to Mike the mechanic. Okay. So what I want to do is I'll leave this here and later he would enter all this information here. I can add some notes here for Mike if that's the case, right? And also I can add some files like photos or anything, right? And that's not the case yet. Perfect. So right now, let me see. Oh, I think, let me just assign this to him again. I think this is pretty high and we're going to send this to Mike, right? My mechanic. We're just going to enter all this information here. And again, do I need to enter this? No, I do not. But if I want to run a report on everything that, let's say, I want to see everything that is preventive maintenance. I want to see everything that is actually scheduled. You can run reports and just pull that data for you, but you don't have to. All right. All righty. It's all good now. I think I've got everything that I need. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this to Mike the mechanic, right? And I'm going to go ahead and save. And there we go. Now, look what just happened. Now, I've been kicked in straight into orders because I've just moved that to the work order. Now, it is Mike the mechanic's job. So Frank, the fleet manager, he created his schedules. He actually looked to the requests and he looked at what's important. And now he already moved all of that forward. Now, Mike the mechanic, waking up early in the morning, he's going to the database and said, let's see what I need to do today. So under orders, again, he can search by groups, he can search by assets, he can search by statuses, and that's something that he can go ahead and say, hey, let's see what's been assigned to me, and then he can just apply that. As well as he can go to the filters here and he can say, well, what if I only want to see what's high? And then he can apply that. And there we go. This is exactly the one that we are looking for, this guy here. And then Mike will say, okay, perfect. This is my priority today, and this is what I need to work on today. So let's take a look. So keep in mind that if I click on the Explorer, it would take me to the asset. All right, a lot of people are doing that, so be careful. If you do that, that's fine. Nothing's going to break, but it would kick you out of here, right? What I want to do is I want to click on Reference, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that one, and there we go. Now I am within the work order. And then from here, I can say, okay, it's been assigned to me. Perfect. Now I'm going to change the statuses here, and I'm going to put this in progress, right? I mean, this is not high anymore. I can change this to that. I can now say, well, they said it will be the mark-on mechanic. Perfect. I'll keep that one. Here we go. And this is all my work here. Now, let's say I kind of know how much of my cost will be, right? So I can go ahead here and I can click on my specific job within my work order, and I can look at it. So I'm going to click on oil and fluid changes and save and continue. And there we go. Now I am inside of a job. So over here, I can look at it and go, okay, do I need to fill all of this? No, you don't need to. But again, reporting wise, you might want it, right? I can put, pickup dates. I can put it today. Perfect. Job completed. We're going to put it today as well. Just so I want to get this done today. Perfect. Service work accomplishment. We have a list of things here. Over now, there's going to be replacement parts. I can select if I wanted to VMRS system codes. If you're using this, we don't have all the parts here yet, but we will populate. This is actually growing day by day. Okay, so you can also, keep an eye on your parts if you want to run any reports on it. Okay. Now in the descriptions, and then we get down to the cost itself. So let's say we're doing this. It took us about 2 hours. The labor were about $300, very expensive labor. Shipping, no. Part cost, maybe $250 for the oil. Taxes, another $200, very expensive taxes here in Canada. And then I can go ahead and add any comments if I need to. Okay, drop that. And then over here, I can add any receipts, any photos, or anything that is, that pertains to this specific job. Once I'm done here with my job, I can go ahead and I can save this. As soon as I save that, it kicks me back again to the work order. So you see that I'm on the work order right here. My job is right there. And now you can see my cost, which is down here. Okay, my total cost, $750. Maybe I just realized, oh, you know what? It's actually more. The power cost is not $250, it's $300. It's okay. I can go ahead and I can go to my cost now, and I can say this is now $300, right? And I know this is done. It's been completed. I can go ahead and I can set this to complete it, and I'm going to go ahead and save this, and there we go. So now, again, I can enter any of that. I am within my work request, and I'm going to change this to now completed, and I'm going to go ahead and save this. So Mike the mechanic's job is done, right? So he received that work order from Frank the mechanic, like he was looking at requests. So he saw that was overdue. It was, something that needs to be done right now. And then he went ahead and he went to the orders. Mike went to orders. He filtered out exactly what he needs to take care of it, right? And then he has his job done. Now, over here, just I'm going to clear my filters. I can, select what I want to see here under my columns. So once again, I want to go ahead and look for specific references or a date that was created, specific assets as well. So if I look at the Explorer, this is my vehicle, and maybe everything that, and then the statuses, I want to see everything that has been assigned. Let's see if there's anything there. Nothing for that one, but you get the whole idea on how I can filter it out. All of the, oh, there we go. Filter it out, all of these orders that are here. Okay, so once again, we went through requests and how the requests work. We went through the orders. That's Mike's job and how Mike will take care of all these jobs. Okay, he can take care of multiple jobs if he wants to, right? And then the last tab, which we call the jobs, which is this one here. And this is the tab, honestly, that it holds a lot of power because I can see everything in their jobs. I can look at a specific work orders or specific jobs within the work order. I can see what's open, what's completed, everything. But if I had the power, I would actually change the name of this tab to historical data, right? Because this is actually Francini's job, right? The finance boss. She's the one that's going to be coming here and looking on how much money we had spent, in the last 3 months or whatever it might be. Right? So over here, I can even look at what's been completed per se, this order here. Let's say I receive a call of somebody and say, hey, that order, Digo, that actually the cost is wrong. Can you add extra cost? Or can you add the receipt now? At the time you completed that work order, I didn't actually have the receipts. Can you add the receipts there? Yes, you can. Even though it's completed, I can go ahead and from here, I can go ahead and I can add whatever I want down the bottom here. Okay. I can go to one specific, you see there's a lot of jobs in one work order, right? Let's say, well, they said that the emission testing was something missing there. I can click on that one. And then from the bottom, I can edit it, my cost, as well as add anything that I want to. Okay. Now, one of the thing is, let me go back here. So again, right, I can really add it, and you've noticed that everything here is completed. Now, one of the highlights that I notice is that, and this is something that you always have to keep in mind, is if I'm working on a specific work order, and let's say I have multiple jobs within that work order, okay? And if I say maybe this one is completed, this one is completed, all of them are completed, but the filter replacements are not completed. But if I hit on the main work order, and if I hit that this is being completed, right from here, everything that is at the bottom here, my single jobs, everything will be closed. Therefore, if they close, the clock will be reset. Okay, so that's why people are like, oh, I don't know why the clock got resetted on my filter replacements because I didn't do it yet. Well, that's because that was under a work order, and because it was under a work order, if you hit on the main one completed, everything will be completed. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. Now, let's go back here, save and continue. Now, one of the things that I wanted to show you as well is, so let's say Francini, she's under jobs here, and she just want to find out how much money we had spent on the last 3 months on oil changes on my vehicles in general, right? So what she wants to do is she wants to go here on the filters, right? And over here, I can just go this month and I can set maybe for the last 3 months. Statuses, I only want to see, my work orders that are being completed. And maybe I want to select a specific maintenance as well. So I think I have the oil change that we were talking about down here. There we go. And we're going to select that oil change there. And I can select sources, but I'm just going to leave that empty and I'm going to apply that. Now, I do have two here. Let's just take a look on my gear. So you notice that I have my gear here. I don't see any costs. So I can go down here and I want to see the total cost. And there we go. I know that this guy here, this guy alone, the vehicle 13, has spent $1,677 Canadian on oil change alone, right? So this is a great place for you to look at any historical data. Like I said, the jobs tab has a lot of power, right? But I always like to say, if somebody once asked me in a session, said, hey, can I go there and then I can do everything that Mike was doing it on the jobs tab? Yes, you can. But for me, it's like going if I'm a waiter and then I'm serving a table and I have a well-done steak on my hand and I go out on the floor in the restaurant and I scream out loud, like, who ordered the well-done steak? Right? Instead of going to the actual order, finding out which table it is and who actually ordered that well-done steak sitting on the table so I can deliver to his spot, right? And that is what you would be doing this under orders, not under jobs. Again, you can, but that's not the right place to do that, okay? So I hope this is very clear the way the requests, the orders, and the jobs work, all the three tabs. So once again, right, so this is Frank, the fleet manager, and he will be looking at everything that is down here, right? And then he can then move this forward, okay? As well as the orders, and this is like Mike's job. He will be coming here and then he will be looking at what's been assigned to him, okay? And this is what's already moving. It is already to be sent, right? And then jobs, it's like the power, right? This is actually holds everything in there. But once again, this is more for historical data. This is where you're going to be looking at your, your jobs that have been completed, your costs and everything. And then from here, you can run your reports right from here, right? You can run a standard report or advanced reports on that. Okay. Now, three things that I didn't mention here. You've noticed that every time we went through these tabs, there's something up here. It's called the work request. And then we have the work order over here on the very top. And the jobs, we have the bulk upload. Now let's start off with this one. So we are under jobs here, and then we have the bulk upload. So here basically is, hey, Diego, I like this, right? I think I'm going to start using this. Can I bring over all my maintenance that I have on my Excel spreadsheet? Yes, you can, right? So basically you download the template, upload, just make sure you upload the information the way it's done here. Upload that information, and everything that you will be bringing over will be as completed. Okay, so meaning that it's a closed work order because you want to just to bring over historical data, right? So you can keep eye on everything that's been done in the past. So that's exactly where you're going to be doing this. Okay, and we can definitely help you out if you need help. We can help you out with that. Now going back to the requests here. And let's look at what this tab is. So this tab, which is the work request, and that's where I'm going to touch now on what we talk about, which is the asset inspection, which is down here. Now, under work requests, and I always like to use real examples, right? So I was talking to a guy and it's like, oh, I like a good example for the work request. How can I use the add a work request? So the work request is basically, and in this case, he had all his vehicles for his company has like wrapping, right? Like the logo of the company, special colors and so forth. And one of the drivers went under a tree and then scratched all the siding off the vehicle. So they had to replace all that, the wrapping around the vehicle. So he didn't actually have to go here and then create a schedule for that. So he can then be reminded on that. What he did was we can create a work request. Then I say, well, I called the company and they told me that, hey, I can actually get your vehicle done in a month's time. Okay, fine. So what I want to do is I just wanted to have this under my radar. I want to have this here, and you may have a better example of this, right? You want to have this down here somewhere. So when the time comes up, then it will come up here so Frank can look and then send the vehicle there. So I'm going to go to the work request. And right now, what I see is this, right? I can go ahead and select my asset, right? Now we get to the defect list, right? Remember that? I can go to my defect list and look. I can look at it. So I have the demo 2. Let me look at another one. So demo, and maybe I'll say mirrors and missing, whatever it might be, right? And then from here, I can say, well, do I want this to be dynamic, meaning that I can pick a date, like I said, it's like in a month, or I can put, service due on a specific mileage or engine hours. For this one, he said it would be done in a month. So we're going to move to, to the next month, and we're going to say maybe the 25th, and we're going to apply. And once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to add. So what I just did is I'm putting that in under my radar, right? I want this to show up over here under my severity. At some point, this will come up over here, okay? And that's how I wanted this to just be there, right? Which is down here. Look at that. Mirrors missing, unknown, which is a severity. But as soon as it gets up, it will actually get to low and high. Now, that is for the work request. Again, I just wanted to keep this in my radar. Now, the next one, I think, is one of the most important ones. I hear this more and more often where people say, Diego, I have a driver. He just called me, right? And he said that the mirror, the windshield have a crack on it, and he has to change the windshield, right? That's not a schedule. That's something that is on the go. It's happening right now, right? So he called me and said, hey, I already replaced this. I have a photo from the old one, the new one. I have the receipt here on how much it costs. I'm on the road already, but I got to fix. And I said, okay, fine, but I need to add this to my system so I can keep record of everything, because Francine will ask me for that. And that's where you would do this. It will be under work order right over here. So once I go there, look, the first thing it asks me is which asset, right? So I go there and it says maybe it's vehicle 4. And as soon as I hit the add, it will kick me into my work order. So now I am in the work order, right? And then once again, do I need to fill all of that? You can if you want to, right? But if you just wanted to say, hey, it's been done. I literally just wanted to say, I want to know how much it costs and so forth, so I can keep a record of it. But keep in mind that the jobs, I don't have that job. The windshield that was replaced, it's not here yet. So therefore, we need the list once again, right? I have 2 pending there, which is, again, the system being proactive and telling me, hey, by the way, I got 2 other ones here. Do you want to do it? No, that's not the case. That's fine. And I can go ahead and I can add this. As soon as I hit add, there we go. It kicks me into my defect list. Okay, look, I have the sunroof that I mentioned to you at the very beginning, right? And I can go to demo once again, and maybe I'll go emergency equipment. I'll say fire extinguishers not charged, and I'm gonna go ahead and add that. And there we go. So as soon as I click and on that specific item on my list, I have it here on the very top, right? I am within that order now, that specific job, okay? I say, you know what, it's done because they already replaced, right? So I'm gonna hit complete. Do I need this? Yes, because if I hit save, look, it's asking me to do that. So I would say the job was done, actually, it was done yesterday, right? And the job was completed was also yesterday. And I can go there. And do I need to fill all of that? No, you don't. But hey, he said it was $400 to change that. No shipping. The part cost was very expensive, $600, right? And that's my total right there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some photos because he sent me some photos. You don't see here, but I have like a window that pop up. And I'm going to add this file here. There we go. And now I have a file here. And I'm going to go ahead and save this. And there we go. Now I'm back to that order again. And it's open. Well, I just need now to hit complete because I already add the information that I need to, which is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and save. And then done. So again, this is more like ad hoc, right? This is like, hey, it has just happened. I don't want having to create a schedule, or I just want to add this to the system so I have the records there. Okay, and that's basically on your work order here. And I know this is very, very popular. A lot of people are asking for that, and it's right here. Again, super simple. If I don't want to add anything, but I just want to add that, repair, add the vehicle, add any notes that you want to hear, any photos there. Even if you don't want to add the actual cost because you have the receipt there, you can basically just hit, complete it and then save, and it's out of the way there. Okay, you have the record there for you. Now, I just gone through all the, how the maintenance center works, how the schedule works. We talked a little bit about the asset inspection list and why are they important for you to understand when you're actually creating your work order here on the very top or your work request, right? And the last thing I wanted to touch upon is some people are asking about reports. People that were using the reports before, the new maintenance center, they are saying now, I don't see my reports. And that's because the new maintenance center, they have linked all the data that is coming in now to the new report system, right? And then they very similar to what you used to have. The only difference here is that when we go down to reports and you go to report setup, all you have to do is click on main. There we go. Now I have last mile maintenance jobs. If I just want to see what my jobs are, my maintenance schedules, and the most popular one is maintenance work requests. And these ones are for like, hey, I want to have this on my dashboard. So every day Frank logs in, he wants to see what's due, right? What's high, what's medium, what's low. So you can just link all of these reports there. And basically the way they will work is you click on advanced maintenance report requests, click on that one, and then most of you probably know how this works. You can go on report view, dashboard, you can put that on your dashboard, or you can email that report to someone. Now, that is all I have for you today. I do want to take some time to look at the Q&A questions if we have time. Yes, we do. And again, if we don't have time to answer all your questions, we will get all your questions and I can answer them and send them back to you. Okay. And this video will be available to you as well.